This is a little song I like to call Don't Poop Where Eat. Hey! Don't poop where eat. Don't poop where eat. Advice for life. Or so you'd hope. Hello, friends, and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily cringe content. Today, we've got some r/NiceGuys. This whole thing gets wildly out of control. It could have been a nice, cool, casual thing they had going on, but as always, the nice guys have to burn it to the ground. So let's check out the post and see what we're in for today. I, 22 female, had sex with my neighbor, 30 male, once. Is his current behavior weird, or am I being overdramatic? I mean, there's probably a reason that you only did it once, I'll be honest. Original post, March 1st, 2015. I made the mistake of having sex with my neighbor. We live in the same building, and I came home from a night out about 2 weeks ago, and I met him in the hallway. We got talking, and he invited me back to his place. We had a drink, and one thing led to another, and yeah, we did it. I'll admit that it was pretty awkward and bad. I'm cringing as I write this. As we were doing it, he told me that he loved me. Oh, we had spoken about twice before this night. You're the manic pixie dream girl I always wanted, OP. I'll never let you go. Already, I'm pretty terrified. But I don't know, you say a lot of crazy things in the heat of the moment, I guess. So yeah, this is where I got my first impression, that maybe he was a bit strange. Seems like something you should know, honestly, before letting someone stick their cock inside you. But hey, that's just me, man. I was really embarrassed by the whole thing, and I thought that he would be too. And not very maturely, I decided to just avoid him. Children being children, man. But I don't know, she's 22, you know? I could see myself doing similar things around the same age. I thought he would get the hint that it was just a drunk one-time thing and I wasn't actually interested. But I kept seeing him all the time. I think he must have worked out what time I leave and get back from work because I started just bumping into him like way more than I used to. I mean, that might be confirmation bias, but although the odds are pretty good that he is legitimately stalking her, I kept the conversation short and acted uninterested because I thought he'd get the hint and back off a little. I guess I was just avoiding that awkward conversation, telling him that I wasn't interested, but in no way was I encouraging him. I guess I'm just really lost as to the thought process of like, why even go there? Why open this can of worms? This is somebody that lives right next door to you, for God's sake. There's other people in the world. But yes, of course, nice guy persists, and then a few days ago he added me on Facebook, which I ignored. The next time I saw him, he asked me why I hadn't accepted his friend request. The time for that awkward conversation is now. I decided to be a bit more assertive, and I said something like, the other night was fun, but I'm not really interested in anything. He was quite upbeat and replied, okay, that's cool, but we can still be friends. Oh, he's trying to get his foot in the door. But the social contract says, oh! He's played this game before, I think. He's pretty good at it. So I thought to myself that maybe I had been immature towards him. And now that I've told him my intentions, we could legitimately be friends. Yep, sounds like a bunch of copium to me. You should be able to say just like, hey, I don't think friends is appropriate, actually. Let's just go back to how things were before, where we only talked twice in the entire time I've lived here. I mean, you might hurt his feelings, but he probably won't kill you with an axe. Probably.
Here's Johnny!
Oh God. So yeah, I still think he's being a bit over-friendly with me. I'm sure he's waiting to bump into me, because I see him like all of the time. He's also not shy about asking personal questions, like about ex-boyfriends and stuff. Seems like a really weird play, honestly. I hope you scarred him for life with that. Just be like, yeah, he was hung like a horse. He touched places of me that no man could ever reach. He'll be like, oh man. Now I get that some people are more open about some things, but I find it a little bit weird. Ex-boyfriends is definitely weird. That's red flag territory. On Facebook, he has liked so many of my pictures. I know we all stalk people on Facebook, but he's very obvious about it. I don't think I stalk anybody on Facebook, but you do you, OP, that's fine. Nice Guy also messaged me a couple of times asking me if I wanted to hang out. Wow, that sounds absolutely horrible. My question is his behavior a bit weird, or am I just being overdramatic? I'm happy to be his friend, but I feel like he's being a little bit over the top. Yeah, a little. I don't want to act like a bitch towards him, but I don't know really how to tell him to tone it down without coming across as one. He is someone that I will probably keep seeing, so I feel like I have to be nice to him, but he is weirding me out a bit. No, there's definitely some things in here that are beyond the pale. Even in the act, saying I love you, I don't know, bro.
I don't know, man. You've been seeming sus lately.
He tried to act cool and nonchalant about the let's just be friends thing, but he is trying to weasel his way back in. That's why he's asking about ex-boyfriends. It's probably not getting like super explicit, but I think he is gonna pick your brain about like what they did to win you over. Maybe it seems paranoid, maybe it seems crazy, but in our last Nice Guys video, a guy like gaslit his wife for 5 years into thinking that she loved him. I'm still trying to process that one, just so you know. So I don't know, my final verdict based on this post, better safe than sorry, OP. Just because you might be a little bit paranoid doesn't mean that they're not out to get you. You know what they say? Some relevant comments. Dude, you should not have brushed off his I love you comment. That's what I said. OP said, I only brushed it off because I thought it was a silly, drunk comment. And he was literally right on top of me, so I didn't want to make the whole thing even more awkward by mentioning it. Maybe I have been oblivious, but I just didn't think anyone would say that when they were having sex with someone that they really didn't know all that well. Was he drunk? Is he like a 30-year-old party guy? I don't think so. He strikes me as someone that doesn't get out all that much, and then this chick shows up at his apartment. He probably thinks this is like a gift from heaven. It doesn't realize at all that it was just like you were drunk and it was late, and why not? Not to go to bat too much for Nice Guy, but I don't know. The social life of a 22-year-old woman and a 30-year-old man are usually vastly different. He doesn't have the option of banging people he doesn't know, I guarantee it. It's the first time it happened, and for him, yeah, it changed his life. Random thought from OP in the thread. Yes, hindsight's a great thing, but I have deleted him off Facebook now, and I hope it'll all just subside. I've told a couple of friends about it anyway, so if things get worse, they know. But honestly, I don't think he's that crazy. Yeah, you never do. You never do. And then the snap, and by then it's too late. You really do not have to be his friend, said one commenter. I really was happy to be his friend, but I just found him a bit overwhelming because I felt like I couldn't leave my home without having to see him and talk to him, and his presence on Facebook was also pretty annoying. I do agree though, I don't have to be his friend, and I quite like the way that you worded how to break it off, so thanks. This is why I use the social contract metaphor so often. If you start breaking what normal humans are supposed to do, then I start breaking what normal humans are supposed to do. But I'm gonna do what normal humans are supposed to do until you violate the contract, and then the gloves are off. I think stalking you, waiting for you to go outside, all this stuff, to keep himself in your life, yeah, that's violating the social contract. And then we need to have an awkward but brutal conversation. It's one brutal conversation versus like a lifetime of not wanting to go outside because he's there, you know? Take it on the chin. Who gives a fuck? There is an update post 4 days later. So, I'm going to begin with the typical thanks for the advice, and for those who kept telling me, yes, I learned my lesson about having sex with someone who I don't really know and also can't really avoid. I thought it was basic, but I don't know. Again, 22 grants a lot of leeway, I guess. I can't peek in there and see the frontal lobe, but you can kind of tell it's not all the way developed. Now I'm being mean scientifically. Anyway, on to the update of this situation. The first thing I did was delete and block him from Facebook, but that's the easy bit because I was still gonna have to talk to him in person. Do it! I coincidentally ran into him on Monday. Coincidentally. The first thing he said to me was, have you deleted your Facebook or something? Because I can't find you anymore. Stop looking for me. At this point, OP goes for it and gives a long speech about how he's a nice guy and I thought we could be friends, but I feel like I'm just leading him on by hanging out together because I'm not really interested. He replied that he really does just want to be friends and that it would be more awkward now if we're not. I'll take that. I don't care. I'd rather have awkwardness than actual interaction, you know? We go out there, both get our mail at the same time and nobody says a word. Let's just stand here and die together. I like that. I thrive on that, honestly. I just said something like, look, I don't want to give you the wrong impression, so I think it's best for now if we're not friends. And then I just quickly left before he could say anything else. Did you run? I think it would really drive the point home if you just ran. I did feel like a bit of a bitch saying it, but I guess it needed to be said. And I'm glad that I said it because he was overwhelming me slightly. So far, it worked, and I haven't actually seen him since then, but it's only been like 2 days. Yeah, he's still formulating a plot, I think. However, last night I got a rambling long letter through my door. Don't read it, just burn it. If he asks about it, tell him you burnt it. I don't want to read anything you have to say. Go away from me. The letter came quite late, so I'm hoping he was drunk or something when he delivered it because I think it's kind of fucking weird and also vaguely insulting. I think I'll type it out as it's difficult to explain the tone of the letter, so here it is. I could explain the tone right now. Creepy. Ain't even read the letter yet. He says, Dear OP, you didn't give me much chance to speak the other night, and there's more I wanted to say. Though this might actually be an easier way for me to explain my thoughts and feelings. Burn it now. Tell him you don't care about his thoughts and feelings. You're gonna have to work real hard to scrape this one off. I don't think he's drunk. I think he's just a millennial sad boy like the rest of us millennial sad boys. I know we only talked a few times before our tryst. Tryst? What a fedora tipping phrase. But I felt like there was an obvious connection between us. I'm sure you must have felt it too, or I don't think you would have come home with me that night. Yeah, the connection was there and then you blew it. The second she learned that you fuck with your neck instead of your hips and that you last about a minute and a half, she's like, oh, I got regrets. But we can't seem to wind that back. I'm not the type of guy who sleeps with girls I don't really know, but I was extremely attracted to you. And when it appeared you reciprocated my feelings, I couldn't help myself. Let's be honest, the opportunity knocked and you were like, oh, thank God. All those lonely nights I've prayed. When you told me you weren't interested in anything romantic, I understood. Even if it was not what I wanted to hear. I don't know anything about your personal life, part of the reason why I'm not usually interested in one-night stands, and so of course I realize why you might not be interested in me. However, I think it's strange that you don't at least want to be friends. We shared a very intimate moment with each other. Yeah, just a single moment. And you can't pretend it never happened. Yeah, I can, actually. You wanna bet? It therefore seems only logical that we become friends. It only makes it more awkward if we aren't. Which, as I already said, I would love. He's really trying so hard to keep his foot in the door, and it's about the most obvious thing in the world. I just want to say, if you feel embarrassed or worried that I might think of you as slutty, well, don't be. I don't think that was any of her concern at all. She never voiced that grievance. And now he's gonna come out and say, I don't think of you that way. Some people might, though. I don't judge you because that would be a terrible double standard. Though, be careful, because some men may see your behavior as slutty. Some men. Just some men, but definitely not me. I'll call it slutty. I'll tell you to their face right now that it was. That doesn't make it good or bad. But objectively, that is the correct adjective, is it not? Oh, and then Nice Guy drives the nail into the coffin. He said, especially if you refuse to talk to them after, Yeah, it's totally okay as long as you allow that person into your life without reservation. Otherwise, it's not okay, and I might have to think like those other guys. Jesus. It's just like when a guy doesn't call a girl after they sleep together, he's seen as an asshole. I feel like that's a false comparison, but I don't have time to unpack it. Really, the point of me saying all this is just to repeat that I understand that you are not interested in a relationship with me, and I respect that. Do you?
Are you sure about that?
However, I'm just gonna say it. I really like you. You're a fun, smart, and a beautiful girl that I would love to get to know more. Well, how about accepting that the feeling's not mutual? Take the L, be grateful you got what you got, and move on with your life. I don't think you can deny that we got along very well before that night. Yeah, the 2 times you talked. And I don't think what happened should change anything. Don't think that you're leading me on. I'm a grown guy, and I know that no means no. And I can handle just being friends with you, but I respect what you said to me, even if it hurt a little, and I will keep my distance from you for now. Why for now, bro? From now on. That's what you meant to say? No, he's gonna scheme and just come right back. If you change your mind, and if you ever want to talk to me, or if you need anything, winky face. He didn't put a winky face. You know where I live, and I will always welcome you. That's what neighbors are for, right? Dude, bruh. You're not as subtle or clever as you think you are, okay? He's gross, bro. And he is playing that nice guy angle so well. You can tell he's been doing it for 30 years, right? OP says, I do feel a bit bad because he obviously does like me and has put a lot of emotional value on what happened between us, but I just don't feel like I can deal with someone as intense as him. I don't know what to tell you, dude. These are the consequences of your own actions, are they not? You're free to do anything, and sometimes that means finding yourself in unfortunate situations. We live and we learn. Maybe it's just me, but I do think that his letter has confirmed that he is a bit odd. Oh good, I'm glad we confirmed that now, finally, after the fact. I'm glad I said what I said and that I was upfront with him. I think he'll leave me alone now. He has so far, though I hope if we do see each other we can be polite and that it won't be too awkward, but it probably will. Relative comments. Make sure your friends and family know about him. She mentioned that they do. Thanks, I've already done that, but hopefully things will go no further. So a week after the second post, 11 days after the original post, we get yet a third entry in this Nice Guy saga. I was hopeful that there would be no more updates to this because he managed to go for about a week without contacting me. I hadn't seen or heard from him for a few days, so I thought things were blowing over and he had gotten over it. No, you know he's biding his time, all right? He's a very thirsty boy. If you give a mouse a cookie, he's gonna come back for some milk, right? This ain't over. It ain't over till it's over. Then, yesterday afternoon, I was getting some stuff out of my car, and I suddenly hear his voice say, "Hey, do you need a hand?" Of course, we were going to see each other again at some point, and I thought I was polite with him by just saying, "Hey, no, I'm fine, thanks." I really didn't think that this was rude, and I really didn't need any help anyways, but he seemed to get offended by it and started to get mad at me. Here we go, the righteous indignation of the nice guy. It's only just starting to flip. Maybe we need to start a little police paperwork on this guy. It's not gonna end well, I'll tell you that right now. He said something like, "What's your problem? I'm only trying to help you. All I've ever done is be nice to you, but you still act like a bitch." I think he said more, but I was just kinda shocked at how he reacted. We'll also understand, OP, that he's been stewing on this for a week. Doesn't make it right, but I guarantee he's just been boiling, waiting for his moment to explode publicly. And there it is. Could have turned out worse than it did. Next time it might, and there will be a next time. So yeah, maybe it's just time to move, you know? He stormed off before I could say anything, but I don't even know what I would have said because I was a bit stunned and also totally embarrassed because there were people around who probably heard it all. I was also a bit upset because I know that he is allowed to feel a bit used or whatever, as he obviously liked me more than I liked him, but I do think that this outburst was uncalled for. I've made my feelings clear to him now, and I know the truth hurts sometimes, but I don't think he has to take it out on me like this. I mean, the way that the letter ended, where it's like, oh, what are neighbors for and stuff like that, he's still trying to at least be acquaintances and keep the door open so he can worm his way back in eventually. I think he was just devastated that his little grocery ploy didn't work. So although you might think that you've laid out the truth, you've not really rejected his offer of friendship outright. You gotta sit him down and be like, look, I don't even want to be acquaintances. Let's pretend we've never met. He's just still not getting the message. And this morning, I woke up to another letter. This one is quite short, so I'll type it out again. Was it scrawling manic handwriting? I'm pretty sure it's only a matter of time until he starts writing it in his own blood. We are descending deeper down the rabbit hole, aren't we? Dear OP, I want to apologize for shouting at you earlier. I let my anger get the better of me, and I'm sorry about that, but I can't help but get frustrated at your behavior. Yeah, my anger's not the problem. It's your behavior that made me do this. He's delusional. I get that you're not interested in me. Again, do you? And that you don't want to be my friend. Even if I do find it strange, you aware of my feelings on this, so I won't repeat them. However, when someone's trying to help you, it's good manners to accept it, or at the very least, be grateful. I'm pretty sure that's what thank you means, nice guy. No, I'm fine, thank you. That's the gratitude. It's more than you deserve, because obviously you had a ploy going into this. You expected to get something out of it. And the thanks just wasn't good enough. Again, I'm sorry, and I realize I need to think about the way I acted, and will try not to do it again. Try not to. You could tell he was just coddled by mommy, wasn't he? He woke up every day and she'd kiss his bum and tell him that it's special and different from everybody else's. Well, guess what? It's fucking not. You're 30 years old. Get it together. And then, of course, in parentheses, he makes a jab at OP. You see? By the way, this is how adults deal with awkward situations. They don't pretend that they never happened. Hope you accept my apology and the little bit of advice I gave you. Bro, fuck you. And the horse you rode in on. This whole letter stinks. It's so self-righteous, it never actually apologizes. This is how he got out of trouble when mommy got mad at him. I know I need to think about it. I'll try not to do it again. What does Yoda have to say about that?
Do or do not. There is no try.
OP says maybe I should be grateful that he apologized. OP, that ain't an apology. I pointed out all the holes in that shit. It's garbage. But I almost think the letter is worse because he's not even trying to hide the insults and is totally patronizing. Yeah, this situation is slowly escalating, as we can all clearly see. I don't know how to deal with him anymore. He seems to have gotten over his love for me, but now he has some sort of grudge against me. If he really thinks all this about me, I don't even know why he wants to talk to me and be friends. It must have been like a month since we had sex now anyways, so I don't know why he can't just accept it and move on. Because he's a lonely 30-year-old man, OP. This is the crowning achievement in his life. He wants to live that high forever. I do sort of see where he's coming from, but that still don't make it right. Let me be clear about that. I kind of want to talk to him again now, but I get the feeling that that's what he wants me to do. So should I just ignore him and hope he gets bored when he realizes I won't give him any attention? Or should I tell him again, more assertively, that I want him to leave me alone? I am so freaking stressed about seeing him again, though, because I don't know what he's going to be like. Well, he's not going to be any better, I'll tell you that much. This is a slippery slope going down a very dark path. You gotta get up and out, or at least get the cops involved and start a paper trail. He probably does want to goad you into talking to him by being patronizing and shit like that. But yeah, that's not the answer. Ignoring him's not the answer. The answer is moving or a restraining order. I suggest one or both.
Both? Both is good.
Relevant comments. Time to move. That's what I said. I'm actually seriously considering this, but I can't really afford to move. I'm thinking that would be the easiest thing to do. My parents aren't really an option, but I'm gonna call my brother. For obvious reasons, I haven't told him anything about this, but I'm gonna tell him, and I think he would help me out financially. Or just call your brother up and have him threaten this guy with a baseball bat. He'll fold. He'll fold when we take his kneecaps out. Do I want to take it to far? No, not personally. I don't. But he's played the nice guy card a few too many times. Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be acquaintances? I don't know, dude. Why can't you just fuck off? Another group of comments says call the cops, which is also exactly what I said. OP says, I did think about doing this, but I just don't know what I would say. Hey, I had sex with someone and they sent me a couple letters, even though I don't want them to. I just don't think that they'll take it seriously. Whether they take it seriously or not, they have to file a report on it. And getting the paper trail started nice and early, it is important. This is not a waste of police resources right now. I think I'll call him and see what my options are. However, even if I can get a no contact order or whatever, I don't think I would want to live that close to him and have to see him regularly. And of course, people shared much more advice, from usage of pepper spray to more things to say, but I think the talking time is over now. The more you talk to him, the more he's gonna think it's okay to talk to him. It's just so messy. We'll get to the fourth post in this series now. I've had requests to post an update on what happened, so here it is. Hopefully the final one. Not the final one. Things have happened quite quickly since my last update. I was still kind of undecided whether or not to write him, to tell him to leave me alone, as this would give me proof if things went any further, or if I should just ignore him. Anyway, I called my brother, who I didn't initially want to tell about all this, but I thought I probably should tell someone in my family. He was totally adamant that I shouldn't contact him, and that I should call the cops if he continues. So I took his advice, and decided not to communicate with my neighbor. Well advised, I'm liking that. It is a shame they didn't offer to come down there and take a lead pipe to old boy's kneecaps, but you know, big brotherdom is a sliding scale, I guess. I sort of regret telling my brother now, because he really did not help the situation. I had been out on Friday night and stayed over at my friend's house, so I didn't get back until Saturday morning. I came back wearing what I had been out in, so to my neighbor it probably looked like I had spent the night with a guy. So this might have made him a little bit more angry. He was in the hallway when I got back. I'm totally sure he had been waiting for me, and he said to me, I don't appreciate getting threatening messages from your brother. See, brother's kind of an amateur. That's a paper trail. You need to go knock on the door with the pipe. Open up, I just want to talk. OP says, I honestly had no idea what he was talking about, so I said as much, and then I found out that my brother had sent him some kind of threatening message, telling him to leave me alone. He was then saying stuff like, why can't you tell me this yourself? Why can't you at least talk to me? I just don't understand you. God damn it, dude. He thinks this is his window back in. The window's closed. It's been closed. Maybe if you keep slamming your face into the wall, eventually you'll find a way through. What the hell? I responded with something like, look, I'm sorry about the messages. I didn't know that he sent them, but I have told you that I don't want you to contact me, yet you keep sending me those letters, and I think he was just worried about me. Yep, and so is all of Reddit, now all of ReddX as well. I mean, we have to presume OP gets out of this one okay, but not completely unscathed, I think, the way things are going. This is when he got pretty angry, and he was saying stuff like, what are you worried about? And how he had just been trying to be nice. Yeah, he actually said it. He pretty much just repeated what he said in the letters, but it was the first real time that he scared me a little bit. I really didn't know what to do. Then he called me a slut to my face, and I was like, screw this. I'm not listening to you anymore. Leave me alone. See, all this is because you didn't talk to me. I told you other guys would think this, but I wouldn't, but now I have to. And you made me. I don't even know what to say anymore. And then I walked back into my apartment. As I was walking away, he tried to backtrack and apologize. It's so classic nice guy. I'm sorry I called you a whore. Do I still stand a chance? Alrighty. I didn't want to give him any more attention, so I ignored him. The first thing I did after this was talk to my brother again, because I was kind of annoyed at him for getting involved, and I wanted to find out exactly what he had said. So he got his Facebook from one of my friends and sent him this message.
You need to leave my sister alone. You're creeping her out. If you don't, there will be consequences.
Ooh, consequences. I guess that does sound a little bit threatening, but it's not as bad as it might have been. That's true. No direct threat of violence. That holds up in court. Even though I was worried that my brother's message might have been seen as provocation, I decided that I was going to call the police. I waited until the next day because I was tired, and it had got a bit late after talking to my brother. I shouldn't have been surprised that I woke up to another letter. I think he just loves having the last word. It's not very long, so I will type it out again. I'm loving the transcriptions, you know? Whenever we can get cringe straight from the neckbeard nice guy incel mouth, that's always good. That's always good for research. Trace amounts of science. Dear OP, I'm sorry for some of the things I said to you yesterday. Yeah, some of them. I didn't mean them, but the heat of the moment got to me. Yeah, it's not my fault, it's the heat of the moment. I did feel threatened by what your brother said to me. All I've tried to do is talk to the person that I lived next door to after I had sex with them. Yeah, and after she told you to not talk to her. Did you forget that part? You made it pretty clear you're not interested in me, and I have accepted that. For the third time. Have you? However, I explained to you multiple times that I find it strange that you don't want to talk, so I think you could be more understanding to my feelings instead of just labeling me a creep. Well, look, it's like this here. I'm sorry you caught feelings, but that part ain't really my fault, okay? This all should have stopped bar none as soon as she said, hey, I'm not interested. Please leave me alone. But he's finding any way he can to keep his foot in the door. It's terrifying. I think we need to talk like adults, in person, because I feel so frustrated that you don't understand what I've tried to say to you in my letters, and the only way to do it now is face to face. For God's sake, OP, do not go to that meeting. I won't let my anger get the better of me like it has previously. And surely you must see this as a better idea than getting your brother to send me messages. Yeah, or slipping notes under people's door like a grade school child. You've done a terrible job of freezing him out so far, OP. But I guess a lot of that is because he's just your next door neighbor. Couldn't be me, bro. There was no way that I was gonna talk to him in person again, as the last 2 times we spoke, he just got angry with me and called me horrible names. Oh yes, the 2 of you alone in a confined space, he probably thinks that it's gonna end with some boom boom, but really he's gonna strangle you with a piece of piano wire. She has to come over and she won't say no because of the implication.
You know, they can't refuse because of the implication.
I wanted the whole situation to be over now, so I called the police. Hey, there we go. It was the non-emergency thing, and they were actually very helpful. I was prepared for them to fully not care, and then they asked me to go to the station, and I had to show all the stuff that he sent me, the letters, Facebook messages, etc. They filed a report, and originally they offered to call him, but when I told them I didn't have his number, they said that they would go and talk to him. Oh, hell yeah. See, the cops have seen some stuff like this before. They know where this road leads. They might not call them nice guys, incels, what have you, but they definitely know that stuff like this goes on. So good, they're gonna nip it in the bud. I love it. I hope it scares the bejesus out of him. I just want to make this clear for those who responded to me before, saying going to the cops was too far. This isn't a restraining order, and he hasn't been charged with anything. All I've done is file a police report, and we have both agreed to not contact each other. And if either one of us contacts the other, then things will proceed further. That's a good gotcha, because you know it's only a matter of time before another note shows up under the door. Then I just take that to the police station. I was sort of expecting for him to send another letter after this, but he hasn't. Oh, good self-control there. I know it's only been a couple days, but I do feel better about this situation now. I'm gonna stay here for now. I might talk to my landlord, but I don't think he'd let me break my lease. If I feel like I don't want to stay, I think my brother would help me out with that money. I think you need to explain the type of extenuating circumstance that this is to your landlord. You want to lock me in my lease and have me get murdered in my apartment? Or do you want to break it and allow an innocent person to live? You pick! My blood's on your hands! It might seem overdramatic, but I mean, stuff like that has happened before. I do feel bad about what happened, and of course, I should have never ever had sex with him. The number 1 lesson I have learned is, don't sleep with your neighbor. Oh, that's a good one. We should write that one down. But if anyone reading this finds themselves in a similar situation, I guess my advice is trust your instinct and go talk to the cops, because they can be helpful and it doesn't mean that they're gonna start arresting people. Anyway, thanks for all the advice. It is truly appreciated. Relevant comments? Hey, make sure your brother doesn't contact him again. I know, I was annoyed with my brother, but it did give me the push I needed to go to the cops. And that's what it's all about. That's how we win. Oh yeah. So now this situation should be entirely over. Or can this guy just not resist and sends her another letter and goes directly to jail? Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. We'll find out in the final post right now. What a mess this all turned into, but I really do think that it's all over now, and so I thought I would do a quick final update. This is 1.5 months after the original post, and this user did delete their account after. So that's good, that's great, I love it. Finality is perfect. Initially I was thinking that I would just try to stick out living there until my lease ended, but on the encouragement of some of the replies on my last post, I decided to talk with my landlord. See? All in all, landlord was not very understanding, and he was like,
Well, you shouldn't have slept with him.
land Chad out here. Which I guess that part is true. He said there's nothing he can do now, but if I wanted to break the lease, I could, but it would cost me 2 months rent as a termination fee, and I had to give 60 days notice. Though he did say to let him know if anything else happens. Bro, what's all this? Why can't you just pack up your car in the middle of the night? Like, really, what's stopping you? I feel physically in danger, but I don't have the money to leave. Just leave. You don't actually need money to leave. Pack stuff into your car and just start in a new town. You're young. You'll be fine. So I left it at that, but I was living in a constant state of anxiety when I saw him, or that he would just do something else. Then I talked to my brother again, and he told me that my neighbor had been messaging him, saying shit like, "How does it feel to know your little sister's a slut?" and other sexual stuff. You opened this can of worms, bro. I can't save you from yourself. I can't save your sister from herself. Y'all just have to start making better decisions, honestly. I guarantee you if you knocked on the door with a baseball bat, put the fear of God into him, he wouldn't send you any messages. Like if I harass him, he literally will come over. Of course, then the cops might want to talk to you, but I don't know. Just do it real quick, 5 minutes or less, in and out. How long does it take to bust open a kneecap? Come on. I wasn't really sure if I should go to the police again with this because he wasn't directly contacting me, but I realized that I didn't want to stay anymore. My brother agreed to help me come up with the money, so I thought that that would be that and that I could get away. Again, you don't need any money. All you need is a sack of shit and a place to go. Choose 5 of your most valuable possessions and start somewhere else. It's got to be especially easy for ladies, too. Come on! You can do it! Anyways, a couple of days later, I ran into my neighbor. It probably was just a coincidence. It was probably going to happen at some point. The weird thing was he was being super friendly and asked how I was, etc. and didn't mention any of the other stuff that had happened. I found it almost creepier than when he was being aggressive. And I told him that he was supposed to be leaving me alone, and I wanted him to stop contacting my brother. He then said something like, "I thought we had moved past all that." Still trying to push the door open again. This is when I began to seriously think that there is something really wrong with him, and I just told him again to leave me alone. Then, surprise, he sent me another letter. Then they put him in jail, right? I can't find said letter right now, but it basically said that there was no need to contact the police before, and I hope you aren't thinking about doing it again, but the tone of it was kind of threatening. God, I wish I got to read it for myself, but I believe you. Like I said, this is sliding to a very dark place. It's time to get up and out and move the hell past it. So I went to the police again, and things got a lot more serious this time. I got a temporary injunction against him, then there was a hearing, and I got a final injunction, which is a restraining order. Because of this, I was able to break my lease without the termination fee, with only 30 days notice. Ooh, poggers! I stayed with my friend for a couple weeks, but this week I've moved into a new place, and I feel like I can finally move on from all of this. Thanks for the advice on here. It sure gave me the confidence to go to the cops. Alright, the advice I gave at the beginning totally checked out this time. Great job, fellas! I'm 100% telling you that this wouldn't have turned out well, okay? Give it like a year or two of this like in his head will they won't they scenario, and he will kick down your door in the middle of the night and stab you to death. I'm pretty sure. He's insanely unbalanced, and the fact that he'd like smile at you after all of that and try and get back into your good graces again. There ain't no fixing this. There ain't no fucking fixing it, man. So I'm glad you were able to get up and out. Restraining order, that's big brain time. I mean, I would have filed for one probably anyways. I did recommend that at some point. But the fact that it lets you break your lease, I mean, wow. Wow! That's information that I might use at some point, maybe. What a wild ride. And I am glad that it turned out okay for OP. Don't be scared to talk to the cops, alright? You just have to consider carefully which times they are your friend and which times they aren't. But regardless of any of that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and or subscribe. Check out my links in the description, many social medias, ways to support, Patreon, YouTube channel memberships, the thanks button at the bottom of the video. One of your dollars is worth like 3-4 of mine, so I don't know, help your boy out a little if you like. Whether you can support or not, I appreciate you watching with me. I hope you come back tomorrow, do the exact same thing. Always remember to take care of yourselves out there, friends. Keep yourself safe, wash your hands, you know. And always remember that you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely deserve it. And I shall see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye.
It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown.